Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 27th of January. My name is Sahil and welcome to the newspaper analysis. So guys, in the today's video, we will be taking up the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper, as well as we will also be taking if there are some relevant articles in the Indian Express explained section. Now first of all, let's see the overview. However, the explainer video, the explainer PDF that I will be using here, you can download the PDF from our Telegram channel. The link for the Telegram has been given in the description box. Now, first of all, let's see the overview of the important articles. So, in the Indian Express explained section, the first article is talking about the Awards, because recently there was a controversy when one of a recipient refused to receive the award. Then the below article is talking about the SSLV launch vehicle, which will have its maiden flight this year. So we will be seeing it. Fine. So these are the two important articles which are there. Then moving to the Hindu newspaper. Now in the Hindu newspaper, first of all, let's see the articles which are relevant in the text and the context section. So, first of all, in the text and the context section, the racial profiling of the Chakmas and the Hejongs, this article is there. Fine. Then after that, invention and reinvention of ethnicity. Now, this particular article, basically, it contains the archives articles. Fine, the old articles which have already been published. Now, this article is from 2010, which is talking about the idea of ethnicity, etc. However, too much of a substance is not there. Fine. So that is about the text and the context section. And after that, moving to the page number 1. So on the page number 1, we can see that first of all, it is talking about the trends of hospitalization into this Omicron wave of COVID-19 pandemic. Fine. However, please don't go here. Nothing much relevant is given into this particular article. Then after that, the political news, etc. has been mentioned. Nothing important into this particular direction. The reopening of schools is being recommended. Fine. Then basically the Republic Day and the performances and all these kind of things. So nothing relevant is there into this particular section. After that, into the city section also nothing is there. Fine. Advertisements, etc. Please ignore them. Not important for the examination. Then after that, the Stalin to launch All India Forum for the Social Justice. We will be seeing this particular thing, what has been there. Then spot build pelicans have been mentioned, which are dying in the Andhra Pradesh. So we will see this particular article also. Then further moving on, the editorial page. Now in the editorial page, the first article, the substance of the UP elections. Fine. So this is a political article, not relevant for our examination point of view. Then unlock India's processing potential. So it is talking about the food processing. So we will see this article, what has been there with respect to the examination. Then keeping faith. So this article is talking about the case for reopening the pilgrim, the reopening the basically corridors for the pilgrims. Okay, allowing the pilgrims to visit their holy shrines. So we'll see this particular article. Then the below article, taxing drama. So basically the Kayan controversy, etc. and all those things have been mentioned here in this article. The Dravidian model of the public health. So there are certain few insights that have been there. We'll see this particular thing. Then after that, remembering the Holocaust. So basically 27th January is celebrated as, or not, sorry, actually it is observed as a mourning day or for the Holocaust Remembrance Day. Fine. So this is the case. Then after that, endless row over the SCCL. Fine. So SCCL between the Telangana and Andhra Pradesh controversy is being talked about here in this article. Then further moving on, after that into the news section. Okay, the BJP, RLD, okay, the political parties and their details and their issues have been mentioned here. Fine. Now these political articles, etc. are not important for the exam. However, here we can see that the Prime Minister will hold the Central Asian Summit today. So we will see that this, what is the Central Asian Summit is and what are the takeaways into this. All these things we'll see here. Then after that, decommissioned INS Kukri to be converted into museum. Fine. Nothing very much important with respect to the examination, just one liner concept. Then after that, further, she offers the Central Asian nations $500 million. So in the line of, as the Central Asian conference is being organized by the Indian Prime Minister, it is a response that has been given by the China. We'll see this thing, what is there. Then after that, Russia hits out at West over threats of sanctions on Putin. So this is a catfight between the US and Russia that is continuing into this particular direction. Then other details with respect to the COVID, etc. is nothing important. Now oil rises towards $89 on Russia tension. So because there are the confrontations onto the side of Russia that is going on, and basically the international markets, they have become more volatile with respect to the oil prices, and per barrel oil price is continuously increasing. It will have implications on India, because a large of India's oil needs are fulfilled by the imports. Then further moving on, after that nothing much of important thing is there into this particular direction, and then comes the sports page. So these are all the overview of the today's article, and now let's discuss all these articles one by one in the detail. Now, first of all, starting up. So today we will be starting up with taking a GS quote for today. So today we'll take a quote from the Potter Stewart. He says, ethics is knowing the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. Is it clear? What you have a right to do, or simply what you can do. You should not do that particular thing as a matter of ethics. Is it clear? So ethics is all about restraining yourself. We can use this particular idea in GS paper number 4, human ethics and human interface, topic number 1 particularly, as well as it in other basically sections also it can be used, where particularly your opinion based question on many of the ethical key takeaways have been asked. So that is about it. And now taking up the first article. Now, the first article here we have taken from the Indian Express newspaper, and it is talking about the small satellite launcher, big prospects ahead. So basically, it is talking about the SSLV, that is the small satellite launch vehicle. Now, understand this particular thing, guys. That see, basically for the earth observation, mineral observation, land mapping, and many of other kind of things, we need to launch the satellites. Now the satellites are launched by a launch vehicle. Now we have the polar PSLV, which is the workhorse of the ISRO. PSLV, it is the polar satellite, basically a polar satellite launch vehicle. It has been a trusted vehicle, but the PSLV carries the large satellites, the satellites particularly into the range of 1000 kg. Fine, but you understand this thing that now the satellites, they are being launched by the private institution, the universities. Is it clear? Many of the small satellites or the micro satellites are being launched nowadays, and for that particular thing, always using the PSLV, it is a very costly kind of affair. And moreover, there was one more thing also, that is whenever the small satellites were to be launched, they were piggybacked onto the PSLV. Is it clear? So because of that thing, there were the two problems that were coming. Number one, if you specifically launch the PSLV for the small satellite, it will be very costly. Secondly, if you don't want to separately launch a PSLV for the small satellites, if you want to put them on the ongoing PSLV vehicle, then you have to wait for a considerable period of time. Whenever the PSLV regular trip will be there, only then the small satellites can be put into the low earth orbit, LEO. But now we see that there are so much of the demand from the private sector. Okay, there is the GPS services that are being given, find real-time traffic management services that are there, and for other research purposes also we are launching the satellite. So for that particular thing, a specific vehicle, that is the SSLV, is now being introduced. Now this SSLV, that is the small satellite launch vehicle, it was delayed. Originally in 2019 it was to be tested, but because of the pandemic it got delayed, and therefore this particular year, April 22, it will mark its first flight. Is it clear? Now guys, this particular thing becomes very much important because India has liberalized the space sector. We have liberalized our space sector for the private corporations, for the universities, and even the foreign players can also come and can explore the field. Under the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, we have opened the small satellite, the private sector into the space. So for this particular thing, even the New Space India Limited, this is a ISRO's commercial arm. It has also been launched. Now, if if a university has to launch a satellite, they can use the services of this SSLV via the New Space India Limited. Fine, this is the thing. Now, what is the difference? Difference is that the SSLV can carry the satellites weighing up to 500 kg, whereas the PSLV used to carry the satellites into the range of 1000 kg. Now, by this particular thing, there is one commercial angle also which can be fulfilled. See, there are many of the developing countries, many of the underdeveloped countries that are there, which need to launch their own satellites for their strategic and other kind of purposes. Now, for that particular thing, for these small satellites, they can directly take the help of the ISRO, and ISRO can help in fulfilling those demands also. So a commercial angle, a strategic angle, all these things will be fulfilled by this SSLV launch vehicle that will be there. So that is all about this particular article. And now moving to the next article. how the Padma Awards are given. Now, guys, this particular article has been taken from the Indian Express, and just a general overview over these awards we will take. Fine. Basically, we can use such kind of information. There could be a trend that it could be asked into the prelims examination. So, with respect to the prelims paper, we'll see all the details with respect to these awards that are there. Now, first of all, guys, first of all, understand this particular thing, that the Indian Constitution recognizes the right to equality, and into this right to equality, nobody could be given some special privilege, nobody could be given some special status. That has been the rule. But as a matter of exception, equality doesn't provide that the merit cannot be recognized. Merit can be well recognized. Is it clear? Particularly the academic merit, or the merit which a person has bestowed, can be bestowed on a person if he had done some exceptional good public service. Fine. So the merit can be recognized, and in order to recognize the merit, there are the certain awards that has been instituted. First of all, there are the Padma Awards, fine, which are one of the highest civilian order, highest civilian honor after the Bharat Ratna. Now, Bharat Ratna is the highest civilian award. After the Bharat Ratna comes the Padma Awards. Now, within the Padma Awards, there are the three categories that are there. There is a number one, the highest Padma Vibhushan, which is given for the exceptional and distinguished service. Then there is Padma Bhushan. Now, Padma Bhushan is given for the distinguished service, and then the Padma Shri, which is given for the distinguished service. So, Padma Vibhushan, exceptional and distinguished; Padma Bhushan, distinguished service of higher order; and Padma Shri, just for distinguished service they are given. Now, these Padma Awards, they are announced on every Republic Day. They are announced on every Republic Day. Now, these records, they basically recognizes the achievement in all the discipline. Many of the disciplines are there, particularly the disciplines where an element of public service is involved. There the people are recognized and they are given the awards. Now, these awards are given for the select categories, and the broad categories which are there, they are the art, social work, public affairs, science and engineering, trade and industry, medicine, literature and education, civil service, and sports. Now, these are the areas in which these awards are given. Moreover, for the protection of culture, for the protection of human rights, and all these things, wildlife protection also, these awards can be given. Now, the history of the Padma Awards, they were instituted in 1954. They were instituted in 1954 along with the Bharat Ratna. Now, at that point of a time, within the Padma Awards, these three categories, that is the the Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, and Padma Bhushan, they were not there. Fine. What had happened? These three categories have added later words, that is in the 1950 into the 1955. Before that, there were the Pehla Varg, Dusra Varg, Tisra Varg. These kind of classifications were there. Now, there were certain events when these Padma Awards have not been given. In 1978, they were not given. 1979, they were not given, and from 1993 to 1997, these Padma Awards, they were not announced. Now, as a matter of these awards, the recipients, they don't get any money. Just they get a citation, a certificate signed by the president, and a medallion. Now, this medallion they can wear in the public or in some of the government functions, but the award, that cannot be used as a suffix. Okay, basically when the award has been given, then you cannot use it before your name or after your name. You cannot use that, okay, Padma Shri Mr. XYZ. Fine. So such suffix is not there. Now, the Padma awardee can be given a higher award. Okay, it is possible the higher award can be given, but only after the 5 years of the conferment of the earlier award. So, the person giving the Padma Bhushan, he could be given the Padma Shri after the 5 years. Now, when we talk about the nomination process, fine, the citizen, any citizen of India can nominate a potential recipient. Any citizen can nominate a potential recipient. You can nominate even yourself, and then you need to justify that why your work is such that it deserves the award. Fine. So such justification is needed to be given, and then the government agencies also, they also search for certain individuals who are fitted to be given these awards. Now, basically, there is no provision of seeking a written or formal consent of the recipient. Just they are informed that they have been chosen. Fine. And if they want, they can deny, but the consent seeking process is not there in these awards. So this is all about the Padma Awards. Fine. I hope you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Spot-billed pelicans dying en masse in Andhra Pradesh. So basically, with respect to the prelims examination, the spot-billed pelicans, we will be seeing these birds. Fine. So first of all, the spot-billed pelicans, okay, they will be important for the prelims. They have been given the status of the near threatened on the IUCN red list. Near threatened status has been given. Now, when we talk about these spot-billed pelicans, now these spot-billed pelicans, they come every year from Siberia and they nest in the peninsular India, particularly the South India, and in Andhra Pradesh. Many of these spot-billed pelicans are coming from Siberia. Now, much of these birds, they come and they stay here in India only. Is it clear? So these are the spot-billed pelicans. Now it has been seen that many of these birds, they are dying in large numbers in the Andhra Pradesh. What is the reason why they are dying? So the reason is that basically due to the nematode infestation, they are dying. Now what are the nematodes? Nematodes are simply the translucent round worms. Fine. They are multicellular organisms, undifferentiated organisms. Fine. Now they could be basically they might not be visible to the naked eyes, and in some capacity in some of these species they are large enough they can be seen with the naked eye also. Now these nematodes, they are found in the soil as well as into the water habitats, and when the water are not clean in the swamps particularly, there are large number of nematodes that are found. Now when we talk about these spot-billed pelicans, they are capable of hunting huge fish from the water bodies and swamps, and when they are basically catching the fish, and when they eat these fish, fine, because of that they become vulnerable to the infestation. And in the Andhra Pradesh, as it is dying, it is being suspected that they are dying because of this nematode infestation that has happened, as it might have transferred from the fish and the snails, fine, when they are preying on them in the aqua ponds and into the swamps. So because of this nematode infestation, they are dying. Is it clear? Now when we talk about, guys, the place from where they are coming, I already told you that every year the spot-billed pelicans, they come, fine, and along with this, the spot-billed pelicans, there are the painted storks also. They come from the Siberian region and they breed in the peninsular India. Now there is one important place where they come, that is the Teli Nilapuram IBA. That is the important bird area. Fine. Tili Nilapuram IBA. IBA stands for the important bird area. Now the important bird area, it is a status that is given by the BirdLife International. IBA, it is a status given by the BirdLife International to those areas which harbor large varieties and the diversity of birds. Clear? When we talk about the BirdLife International is the partner of IUCN for the bird category. Fine. So it is also the partner of IUCN, BirdLife International. So that is all about this particular article. Fine. So please keep this spot-billed pelican and its IUCN status in your mind, because such kind of questions onto the species in the past have been asked in the prelims examination. So that is all about it. And now moving to the next article. Stalin to launch All India Forum for Social Justice. Now, see, just we can use this particular reference in one line in our questions, where we are talking about the mechanisms for upholding the welfare of the backward sections, downtrodden sections. Is it clear? So, guys, what had happened? The Chief Minister of the Tamil Nadu, he had proposed that an all India Federation for Social Justice is needed to be established. Now this all India Federation for Social Justice, it will be having the leaders, from the oppressed classes from all the states. Okay, where is the Tili Nilapuram? Okay, it is into the Andhra Pradesh. Fine. So first we have seen the Andhra Pradesh. It is in the Andhra Pradesh. Okay. I hope Devika Anil, your doubt is clear. It is in Andhra Pradesh. Okay. Fine. So what we were talking about, yes, so the All India Federation for the Social Justice. So the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu had suggested the establishment of the All India Federation for Social Justice, which will have the leaders from the oppressed classes from all the states. Now these leaders will give the suggestion to the state governments on to the different laws that are to be created for the protection of the backward classes, and all the different other kind of mechanisms that are existing and what is their working. This particular thing something will be suggested. Now every state, they have the different percentage of the backward and oppressed communities. So basically the composition of the all India federation from different state will be based on the will be based on to the percentage of backward people living into those states. So the motto of this particular body, that will be the everything for everyone, everything for everyone. Fine. Now this is something which is being suggested, but guys, little bit moving beyond the scope of this particular article, there is also already the National Commission for the backward classes that is existing. Fine. There is the National Commission for scheduled caste also that is there. So in the wake of existence of the NCBC and NCSE, will this particular All India Forum for the Social Justice be making any sense or not? We cannot very categorically conclude. However, yes, one thing could be there, as the National Commission for Backward Classes, National Commission for Scheduled Caste, there the government representation is more, and as in this All India Forum for Social Justice, not government representation will be there, rather the people from the communities, they will be there, so that it could actually be a kind of a consultative and a deliberative body. It could act as a counterweight. It could see if there is a kind of an apathy coming into the system, or if some actually the schemes are not implemented. So on such kind of a thing, it could be a suggestive body, it could be a deliberative body that could play an important role. So this is about this particular article. And now moving to the next article. Keeping faith, people to people initiatives can help build goodwill between India and Pakistan. Now this article will be important and can be used in GS paper number 2 with respect to the neighborhood relations. Fine. Neighborhood relations, we can use this particular article. Now first of all, let me tell you some background here. First of all, background. Fine. So understand this particular thing. If we talk about the neighbors have been called as the first wall of defense. Okay. Fine. Mr. Gujral had called the neighbors as the first wall of the defense, and even the Gujral doctrine, even in the Panchsheel agreement that India signed in 1954, we have always recognized an important place for the neighbors. Even when today we talk about the official foreign policy, one of a component of a foreign policy of India, one of a component is the neighborhood first policy. So neighbors have been very important. But when we talk about Pakistan, with Pakistan we are facing basically we are facing the worst relations into the present times. For the past 5 years, the diplomatic relations, they have completely been, they are absent. Is it clear? The ties are not there, the exchanges are not there, even the trade has been very much low. So there is some now a kind of a silver lining that is coming to enhance the cooperation between the two countries. What is the silver lining that has been there? Basically, Pakistan Hindu Council, they have asked the Indian government that you please allow some of the Hindu people to come in India to visit their holy shrines. So their holy shrines are there in Rajasthan, some of the holy shrines are there in Delhi and other parts of India. So they have asked that please allow us to carry a chartered flight from Pakistan to India, so that the Hindus, fine, they can visit their holy shrines. This is certain thing which has been asked. Now guys, if we see into the past, because of the terrorist attacks, because of the coming of Article 370, fine, the relations have turned very much bad. Even we have downsized our diplomatic mission. Even the Pakistan and India both have downsized their diplomatic mission. Particularly after the coming of COVID-19, large number of border points have also been sealed. Only few direct routes between the India and Pakistan are functional. Now when we talk about guys the religious exchanges between the two countries, now the religious exchanges is actually governed by a protocol of 1974. So the 1974 protocol between India and Pakistan governs it. Now already if you see, the Kartarpur corridor was basically initiated in 2019, and through the Kartarpur corridor the Sikh pilgrimage is going on. Fine. So therefore now it has been said that it is a time now has come that we need to further enhance the people to people ties through the religious pilgrimages. Is it clear? And India should take this particular opportunity as a take this particular thing as an opportunity to again kickstart the relation with the Pakistan, keeping in mind the neighborhood first policy of India. So it has been provided here into this particular article, and there are the sufficient reason that this particular thing can also be allowed, because already the Kartarpur corridor has become functional. We have even allowed the T20 World Cup between the with the Pakistan, so the religious exchanges should be allowed, okay, and a positive message needs to be given here. So this is what has been provided in this article, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Now this article, it talks about the food processing potential for India. Clear? Now, first of all, understanding this particular thing, that this article will be important in GS paper number 3, food processing industry. Article will be important in GS paper number 3, food processing industry. Now see this particular thing. When we talk about the food processing industry, it plays a very important role in any country. For number one, we see that every year so much of the food is being wasted. Fine. Now if the food processing can be carried effectively, much of the food wastage that has happened, it can be saved. Why? Because through the food processing, the shelf life of the food can be increased, and therefore the food can stay good for even elongated periods. Second thing is that today, if we see in India, we face the problem of the hidden hunger. What is the hidden hunger? You are consuming the sufficient amount of food, but the micronutrients that you need, you are not able to get from that particular food. So the food fortification, fine, enhancing the nutritional component of food makes a very good sense, and that in this particular direction also, the food processing can help. Then the third reason for the food processing, the third important benefit that a food processing can give, it is the fact that whenever the food processing can be carried through the food processing, actually the value addition can be done in a very effective manner. One stage of food processing can increase the income for the farmers by a factor of at least 1.5 to 1.75. Is it clear? 1 rupee invested can give the higher return to the tune of 1.75. Is it clear? So this is the all the potential of the food processing in India. However, guys, up till now, food processing is not a very scaled activity in India. And in order to expand the food processing in India, many schemes into the past, such as the Sampada scheme, food park scheme, etc., has come. But now, first of all, the last budget, the government came out with the production linked incentive scheme, by the way. Now this production linked incentive scheme actually covered the 13 key sectors. Now in this, there was an outlay of 1.97 lakh crore rupees. So first of all, what is the idea of production linked scheme? I will tell you this thing. So there is a base year. Over the base year, whatever the incremental production is being done by an industry, over that incremental production, the incentive of 3 to 5% will be given. That is the production linked incentive scheme. So whatever extra production will be done, an incentive will be given by the government. And under this production linked incentive scheme, the textile sectors, the electronic sector, etc., have been covered, and the food processing sector has also been brought under this production linked incentive scheme. So the food processors, they will be incentivized if they go for higher food processing. So this is something, a good thing for the food processing industry in India. Now, according to a study conducted into the United States, it has been said that a 1% increase in the public infrastructure increase the food manufacturing output by 0.06% in the longer term. Now, for the food processing, public infrastructure, warehouses, storehouses, etc., are very much needed, where the food grains, food crops can be stored, and then laterwards gradually they can be processed. So public infrastructure plays a very important role in the food processing, and increasing the public infrastructure has a positive impact onto the food manufacturing into the long term. Now, if we see, guys, in India, there is a higher investment which is concentrated into the states such as the Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh. Fine. Now onto the good governance index. These states have ranked highest in the public infrastructure and utility parameter. Fine. Connectivity to rural habitations have increased here, and because of this particular thing, what had happened here, fine, investments are being made here. So public infrastructure brings more investment. Public infrastructure increases the output of the manufacturing sector, a very important observation. Now, out of the 13 sectors which have been announced under the PLIS, the food processing earmarks a dedicated category. Is it clear? Now if we use this PLIS scheme fine, into the food processing, and if we enhance the food processing potential in India, there is a huge export potential that is there. We can export our food products to the market such as the Europe, Middle East, West Asia, Africa, Oceania, Japan. There is a huge market for the food product. So using the PLI scheme, we can enhance the food processing and that food can be exported to these countries. Moreover, the pandemic has also increased the consumer awareness of the functional foods. Now, functional foods which have a high nutritional content, the food which can give the immunity, all these functional foods, the superfoods, their importance has been recognized. So, what we can do, we can make these kind of food in our food processing industries, and they can provide a launchpad for many of the health startups, many of the micro food processing units in India. Particularly the MSMEs, they play a very important role because much of the food processing is done by the MSMEs. Is it clear? So MSME sector plays a very important role. However, MSME always have a problem that they lack the working capital, fine, in the food processing category many a number of times. So into this particular thing, there is a way forward also that has been suggested into this particular article. Now, talking about this working capital issue, working capital. Now see this particular thing, I will explain by the help of a one very simple example. Suppose there is a one MSME, its name is ABC. There is one MSME, its name is ABC. Is it clear? Now, suppose it is doing some food processing. It is doing some food processing. Fine. It procures the raw material. It procures the raw material. Then this raw material is processed. Food processing is done. And then the final goods, they are sold. The final goods, they are sold in the market. Is it clear? Now, when the final goods are being sold to the corporate, they are being sold to the corporate or some big buyer, there is not immediate settlement of money that happens. It will be the case that if the good is being sold to a corporate buyer, let's say today, fine, today is first, probably the payment for this particular thing will be done on to the 30th. Payment will be done on the 30th. This is the way in which the transactions happen. Now understand this particular thing, that this ABC company, when it had procured the raw material, it has to pay to the farmer immediately. It has to pay to the farmer immediately. There are the wages which has to be paid immediately. There are the fixed expenses that have to be done. But whatever you have done, you will receive the payment at the 30th. So in between, from where the money will come, you need to have the working capital immediately. So for this particular thing, there is the trades mechanism that has been built. There is a trades mechanism that has been built, that is the trade receivable discounting system. Trade receivable discounting system. Now what is this trade receivable discounting system? So again, let's come to our example. So this ABC, just a minute. So this ABC was selling the goods to the corporate buyer and they will give the money on to the 30th. Now the moment, let's say on to the first, when the good were given to them, they will give them the trade receivable bill. They will give them the trade receivable bill. Now this trade receivable bill, it is simply an acknowledgement. It is simply a receipt that yes, we have received the goods and the payment will be made on the 30th. Just it is a receipt. Is it clear? Now what can happen? This MSME can take this particular receipt onto this trade receivable discounting system on this platform. This particular bill can be taken. This receipt can be taken. Now, in exchange of some negligible commission, the money will be made immediately to this ABC, and on to this 30th, when the actual money was to be paid, then this particular money will be recovered directly from the buyer. Is it clear? So from buyer we will take on 30th, but immediately we will give to the MSME in exchange of this trade receivable bill that was given to them. Let's say if 100 rupees payment was to be made, so not entire 100 will be made, some 98-97 rupees will be paid. So MSME is happy because it got the payment immediately, and by that they can further go for their production. Is it clear? And this trades system mechanism, it can also sustain. Why? Because that 2 rupees, 3 rupees, that will fulfill their working cost, and this particular buyer also, he is also happy because he is paying the money as usual as he was paying earlier. So this is the trades system, and because of this particular trades, the working capital requirement has been basically solved to a large extent. Is it clear? That has been the thing. However, basically we need to make it even more vibrant. We need to further scale it up, and we need to make sure that in a very efficient manner all the transactions are happening here. Clear? After that, basically with the growing population, changing food habits, fine, unrestricted use of natural resources. Nations must come together to create a roadmap for common efficient food supply value chain. Is it clear? Now the nations need to come together and a common food value chain is to be explored. And into this particular thing, the countries such as India, they can provide a large amount of possibilities. Is it clear? Now, there is an immense potential in replacing the staples of rice, wheat in the form of nutri-cereal, plant-based proteins, fermented food, health bars. There is a lot of potential into them. So, on this particular thing also, a common food map or a food roadmap needs to be prepared by the countries by coming together, and the countries such as India, which can fulfill the demand, they can be explored. Their potential should be tapped. So, this is the idea which have been carried into this particular article. So, that is all about this. Fine, guys. I hope you have understood it. And now we'll move to the next article. Dravidian model of public health. Now, this particular article, we can use certain references here with respect to our GS paper number 2 health. GS paper number 2 health, we can use some of the things here. Now understand one particular thing very carefully. See, this article at times is talking about too much technical details with respect to the NEET examination and medical admissions process. Is it clear? So some of the technical basically regulations, for example, regulation 6 of the MCA etc. are being talked about. Is it clear? You don't need to go too much in detail in those kind of things, because in UPSC we need to have a generalistic overview. So much of technical nitty-gritties in any of the sector is not a very important thing for UPSC, because questions are not asked onto that particular line. So please avoid it. Now, basically, this article is talking about that how the public health policy of the Tamil Nadu fine can be replicated throughout the different states. Let's take first of all the context here. Basically, guys, what had happened, I had already covered this thing multiple number of times, that is the all India quota category in the NEET examination, UG and PG, and into the dental examination. We have seen this particular thing already, that see, the states are there. The states are there, for example. Now the states, they have the medical colleges. Now the states usually say this thing, that the seats within our medical colleges will be reserved for our own students. The seats will be reserved for our own students. This is the state's proposition. However, in basically the center government came out with this AIQ All India quota. They said that yes, you have the right that you can reserve the seat for your own students, but at least 15% seat into the undergraduate level and the 50% of the seats at the PG level should be kept open for the outside states student also. Is it clear? It was said that these many seats needs to be kept open for the outside state student also. That thing actually got started up. All India quota was given. Now within this, these many seats, let's say into the undergraduate college admission, 15% seat which are being reserved for the outside students also. Originally, there was no reservation which was given here. First of all, the reservation for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe was given within this 15%. Then 2021, the reservation was given also for the OBCs within this 50%, as well as to the EWS within this 15%. Now, there was a petition that was filed, fine, that whether giving the reservation to the OBCs and them is justified or not. Now just what has happened, the Supreme Court has upheld the constitutionality of the reservation of the OBCs in the NEET AIQ seats. They say that yes, it should be given, because there is so basically there is a substantive equity that we need to bring, and that will only come only by giving the reservation, so it is to be given. Some very good articles we have already seen in the last week multiple times onto this particular line already. Now, Apex Court said that merit should socially contextualized and reconceptualized. Fine, that has been provided by the Supreme Court. Now, in this particular thing, it has been said that the Tamil Nadu from the very long already had some of the good points into their reservation policy, which could be implemented by other states also. For example, if we talk about the Tamil Nadu has a scheme where 50% of the postgraduate or the super specialty medical seats, they are reserved for the government doctors. Fine. So let's say you have done your UG and you are working with the government, you are a government doctor. So if you want to go for PG, or if you want to go for a super specialty medical course, then the 50% seats are reserved for the government doctors. How this particular thing helps? Now there is a condition. If you are going in this 50% category, the condition is such that the superannuation bonds are to be signed. Superannuation bonds are to be signed. Superannuation bond means that you have to sign an agreement that till the retirement you will be working only for the government, and then only this particular seat will be given to you. You will not go into the private sector, or you will not simply go to some another country. Such kind of bonds have to be signed. Now the government doctors, they signed this particular bond, and then they actually are retained into the government medical service only. Because of this particular progressive step, it has been said that the specialist in multiple disciplines such as the gynecology, anesthesia, general medicine, pediatrics, general surgery, orthopedics, find in every district hospital, district headquarter hospitals, their numbers which were earlier very much problems, adequate doctors were not there. Now this problem has been resolved. Fine. It has been said that the public health sector in Tamil Nadu has 900 super specialists into the different disciplines, which is comparable to only few European countries. So such high standards have been there. Now the doctors are serving MBBS graduates. They are serving in rural areas. They are serving in the primary healthcare centers. Why? Because deliberately the people, after doing their MBBS, they are joining the government service. Why they are joining the government service? Because then they can do the PG course under the 50% category, and when they are joining the government service, they are actually working into the rural areas. If they would have went directly to the private sector, they might not have went to that rural area. So this 50% reservation for the postgraduate seats for the government doctors had actually played a very important role. So the reservation policy is not always bad. It can be used in some constructive manner also, as the Tamil Nadu government has done. So this is something which we can learn from the Tamil Nadu government. Is it clear? So this is something about it. However, guys, the points with respect to the way in which now the seats will be distributed and all these kind of the internal mechanisms of the seat distribution within the AIQ, within the NEET, which has, again, it is a kind of a controversy that has been there. That thing is not important for our examination. We need to understand the conceptual and thematic part. So that is all about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. So here we have seen, we have actually clubbed the two articles. Fine. The first article is PM to hold Central Asian Summit today, and then second, there is one more follow-up that had happened onto this particular thing. So let's understand both of these articles together. First of all, they will be important with respect to the GS paper number 2. Fine. India's outreach, India's external outreach, India's external outreach. Fine. Now let's understand this particular thing, guys. When we talk about the Central Asia, it has been a very important part of India's foreign policy. Why Central Asia is important? There are three reasons for the Central Asia's importance. Reason number one, Central Asia is important for India's energy security. It is important for India's energy security. Clear? There is a lot of untapped potential of mineral gas and mineral oil into the Central Asia, and as India is becoming India is a developing nation, fine, the energy appetite can be fulfilled. Second reason for the Central Asia is that there is a lot of market for Indian goods into the Central Asia. Is it clear? And this market can be explored by the India. Up till now, the direct routes to the Central Asia, they have been very much restricted. If we develop better connectivity, we can also get the market that has been there. Then third, it is the strategic importance of the Central Asia. The strategic importance is there. What is the strategic importance? Number one, the strategic importance is this, that the region, okay, the region, it makes boundaries with the Afghanistan. Fine. It can be a gateway towards the Europe. Fine. The region also can give the connectivity with the Russia. Secondly, this particular region has been a fertile ground for the terrorist also, and from that the terrorism can spill over in our Jammu Kashmir. Is it clear? So the strategically the region is also important. So energy, market, strategic, three types of importance are there for the Central Asia. And guys, in order to do this, in order to justify, basically in order to have the better cooperation with Central Asia, India is also having the Connect Central Asia policy. We are also having the Connect Central Asia policy. Is it clear? That is the thing. However, if I tell you the reality, reality is such that up till now we have not explored the complete potential. Why? Because trade just the trade relation between the Central Asia and India, they are $2 billion per year. Clear? Just $2 billion trade we are doing with the Central Asia. So actually, in order to further expand the horizon of the relations, fine, we connect with the region. And now the Prime Minister is holding the Central Asia Summit. It will be held today. Central Asia Summit will be held today. So tomorrow we will see that obviously what are the takeaways from here. But up till now, into this Central Asia Summit that is being held by the video conferencing, the physical format is not there. The president from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, they will be participating. So the five countries, again, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, they all will be participating. Now it has been said that the discussion will be centered on the trade and connectivity, number one, then the building the developmental partnership, number two, and enhancing the cultural and people to people contact. So three themes are there. Number one, trade and connectivity, second is development, and the third is the cultural and people to people contact. I already told you that basically just right now the trade potential is just $2 billion at the present, and it is also from because of the energy imports that we are doing from the Kazakhstan. Fine. Now just recently already we have seen this in our newspaper analysis also, that India extended $1 billion line of credit for the developmental projects. Fine. Healthcare, connectivity, agriculture in 2020. Is it clear? To the Central Asian countries, that was also there. Now, basically, India also hopes to sign a trilateral working agreement between three countries, that is the Iran and Uzbekistan. So Iran, Uzbekistan and India, they are also trying to sign a trilateral agreement. We have developed already the Chabahar port in Iran. We have developed the Chabahar port in Iran. Now the original idea was this, that we will go to the Chabahar port. From the Chabahar port, we will make an entry in Afghanistan, and through Afghanistan, we will reach to the Central Asia. But now in the Afghanistan, the Taliban has come. So basically, from the Central Asia, from the Chabahar port in Iran, we can make an entry into the Uzbekistan, and from Uzbekistan, we can reach to the region. So we are also trying to sign a trilateral with the Uzbekistan and Iran. Fine, three, Uzbekistan, India, and Iran will be there. That is one thing. However, guys, recently we find this particular thing, that the developments such as the COVID-19, they will also be discussed here. Fine. Then also basically, as we are also the part of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, where the Pakistan is also there, Russia is also there, China is also there, Iran is also there. Fine. This is also one of a platform where India is cooperating with them. However, in this particular thing, there are certain concerns that have developed. Fine. There are certain concerns that have developed with respect to Central Asia. Concern number one, there is the rising tension between the Russia and the NATO countries. Fine. Russia and NATO countries, increased tension is there because of the Ukraine. Now guys, if we see, we have a good relation with Russia. Russia had very important relations with the Central Asia. Just a few days back, we have seen already in our newspaper analysis that what happened in Kazakhstan. In Kazakhstan, when there was the protest happening, the Kazakhstan's president took the help of Russia, and Russia sent their troops in the Kazakhstan. So Russia and Central Asia, they share a very important relation. And if we are connecting with the Central Asia, it means indirectly we are also connecting with Russia. Indirectly we are also connecting with the Russia. This is the problem. Is it clear? And this thing might not be seen positively by the USA. It will not be seen positively by the USA. So this thing is a problem. Then the next problem that has been there is that basically all the Central Asian countries, they are not on the same page when India Taliban relations are there. Fine. Just if we leave the Tajikistan, all of them, they have exchanged high level diplomatic visits with the Afghanistan. Is it clear? With the Taliban. And two, that is the Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan, they have also opened their diplomatic mission in Afghanistan. So they are maintaining the good relations, but up till now, our relations are not sorted with the Taliban. So this is also a problem that has been there. However, apart from this, there are some other two big problems that are also coming. Now I told you that today we will do this Central Asia Summit. The Prime Minister will do that. But before that, Before that, China had already provided $500 million grant to the Central Asian countries to support their livelihood program. So just before, a preemptive strike has been launched by the China. Is it clear? China also had pledged that they will import the quality goods and agricultural products from countries in the region. Is it clear? They are also supporting their industries. Fine. And they have said that basically the trade between the two, that is the Central Asia and China, will be increased to $70 billion. Fine. It will be increased to $70 billion by 2030. And today, the five countries and China, their trade is $40 billion in 2018. Today they have 40 billion trade. It will be increased to 70 billion by 2030. What is India's trade today? Just see, India's trade is just 2 billion. Is it clear? And the China's trade today is 40 billion. This is roughly 20 times that India is having. Fine. So on the economic terms, China is already having a very big head start, and now it has given 500 million in grant to the Central Asia, and also saying that we will import goods from your countries. We will support the development in your country. So this is a kind of a trump that has been played by the China before India will engage with the Central Asia. So India now need to be more careful in the new development that has happened, and today's whatever the meet will be there, such things needed to be kept in mind. So that is all guys about this particular article. Fine. And now we'll be moving to the next one. Okay, so guys, this next article, that is the racial profiling of the Chakmas and Hajongs. It has been there into the text and the context, but guys, yesterday, that is on to the 26th of January, yesterday on to the 26th of January, this entire racial profiling issue of the Chakmas and Hajongs, we have already covered here in this particular article. So yesterday, 26th January, we have already covered this entire article. 2015 judgment of Supreme Court, 1996 judgment of Supreme Court, and recently the NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, who had sent a notice to Arunachal Pradesh, what you have done to avoid this racial profiling. This thing has already been taken here. Nothing apart from this has been given into this particular article. So the same things have been just repeated. So guys, if you have seen the yesterday 26th January of newspaper, that is well and good. In the timestamp also you can check out. Fine. Yesterday you will find this particular article. If you have seen, well and good, and if you have not seen, then please go and see this particular yesterday's article to understand this entire topic from the scratch. So that is all guys about the today's newspaper analysis. With this we come to an end. Now we will be meeting tomorrow at the same time, 6:30 a.m. Till then, please take care of yourselves, and if you have liked, please do hit the like button. Thank you. Thank you.